there, Gemini. Welcome to your mid-October 2023 General Tarot Reading update. It's Rena here. When I said mid-October, I was like, wow. I mean, once the summer ended, it seemed like everything just took off like a rocket ship. I hope it's not too dark in here, but it is the day, and I don't want to really turn on any lights. I'm going to put both of these in the past position. I don't like to necessarily turn on lights during the day. I like the natural light, but I realize if it's a little dim, it might not be so good for people watching. Oh, that's a nice ending. Yeah, I got this career vibe feeling from this reading. But we have the Death card in the centerpiece. So I'm trying to think astrologically. I'm just doing the math here. Doing the math. Well, one thing I'll say about Gemini people is that your 10th house is Pisces, is it not? The house of career. And Saturn is going direct in November, so Saturn has a month to go before it goes direct. And Saturn is a ruler of the 10th house. That's why I mentioned that. And so whenever a planet is going retrograde, the person is really thinking about those issues, especially, the planetary influence is still in play, but it's going inward. So for instance, if we associate Saturn, let's just say with ambition as one of the key words, it could be like a Gemini person saying, what am I doing this for? Like, what is this? Like, if you have been working very hard career-wise, which may or may not be true. Saturn just went into Pisces in March, so it might be premature to say that you've been just working very hard, but you might be faced with the need to if you're going to advance. And you have Neptune in the 10th house, so that throws a monkey wrench into it because Neptune is not very... Neptune isn't a very organized influence. It can be kind of chaotic. It can be very diffused, indefinable, like a fog. So this may be something you're battling, but I mean, in a good, there's a good side to Saturn having entered this area because it can really define for you what it is that you want. But now there's that internal process that is lasting until early November. So I would just say, be wide awake, be aware, be like questioning, be curious. Everything that comes up for you. So the heart of the matter is the Death card. And they make a point here to, say rebirth because of our culture's reaction to the word death. This is connected to Scorpio. This is Scorpio season this isn't Scorpio season, but we're going to be coming into it in the second half of October. So we're getting there. We're getting to those themes. And, even in the beginning of October, you see the Halloween decorations. And what do they, Halloween is at the time of Scorpio. Is that perfect or what? For what it represents. The Day of the Dead on November 1st is right in alignment with Scorpio. And death, there's physical death, but there is the death of a time in your life, which means it's a a cycle ending. Death is also in terms of transformation. And that can mean the end of something. So something may be ending in your life. Usually Gemini people are pretty okay to just move on. So sometimes it can be that you move on too quickly without really like reflecting on what it is that just has ended. So that can actually be another pitfall, is like really honoring that something has ended instead of just like being like, okay, what's the next thing? So we'll talk about these two cards. We have the Three of Pentacles, which can be co-workers, and we have the Eight of Swords. And you can see that the Eight of Swords isn't exactly a cheery looking card there, because the Eight of Swords can be about a lot of programming that was inflicted upon you, that is inflicted upon all of us by multiple fronts, from multiple fronts, from our parents, the educational system, everything that don't necessarily serve us. Well, especially that don't serve us. The things that we are told either about ourselves or about life. So really you could say the Eight of Swords is self-limiting beliefs. A lot of times they're going to be those old tapes that you tell yourself about what you're capable of and what you're not capable of. And with the Three of Pentacles, this can involve co-workers. So if there is a job that has gone bye-bye, and this may be because of some kind of betrayal. Maybe it's behind the scenes. Maybe, maybe coworkers try to squeeze you out. They didn't cooperate, and that made it hard for you to come across in a positive way. Whatever it was, you have to accept what is going on. So maybe this is a current job, but you sense that it's over with. Okay, maybe you haven't like walked off the job, but you sense that something is just like kaput. If it's relationship related, it can be that there's a third party involved, and yet you may find it hard to let go of that relationship. Why? Some people don't like being alone. Some people, the idea that someone else is cheating, that brings up feelings of unworthiness. I think that is one of the biggest dangers of staying with somebody who's cheating, because it can lower a person's self-esteem to tolerate that situation. So only you know, if you are in such a situation, how it is making you feel. But if you feel like, if it like kind of triggers you from the past, like things that you experienced when you were younger, then just really pay attention to that and don't try to minimize it. The higher message is the Five of Wands. This is a card of competition. With work matters, it can be saying that you're in a very competitive environment. By the way, this card doesn't have to be something bad. It can be, actually, it could be saying that if you put yourself in the right environment, you're going to be inspired to be your best. In some environments, work environments, it's a mediocre situation where you might be somebody who is like rising above other people, and they are envious and they feel threatened, and so they're trying to kind of maybe keep you down, but it's like crabs in a barrel. Everybody keeping each other down, but nobody is lifting each other up. That's not a healthy environment, obviously. The Five of Wands, though, can be like you are surrounded by people who are at, bringing their A game, and that causes you to do better, to perform better. And even though there's a spirit of competition, it's not toxic. It's like you're all, you know, bringing your A game, and you're all like um, rising to the occasion rather than mailing it in, that kind of thing. In private matters, like a personal relationship, this can indicate a relationship of conflict. And that can be very uncomfortable to be in that environment. Um, I also think that for some Geminis, perhaps you have been avoiding talking about something very important because you're afraid of conflict. And yet, if you don't do so, you're kind of like avoiding, the reality of the situation. And it's like the fear of conflict makes it so that something festers. Well, that doesn't make much sense. What crosses you is the Chariot card. To me, one of the meanings of the Chariot is progress. And so there's a blocked energy with this. So it's like the death process, when you think about the funeral, the burial, there are so many rituals associated with death. And this is in order to really hit home this idea that something is over with, that a person is no longer in our lives in a physical sense, and it gives us that space to grieve and to kind of move on and to honor that person's life. Well, the same thing applies to any kind of change in your life. That you, by the way, your 6th house is Scorpio, and back in May there was a lunar eclipse here, so it could be fallout from that. If you had like some kind of, maybe it was even what do they call it? A blind spot. It was I can't think of the word, but you were blindsided. You didn't. You might tell people that you didn't see it coming, and I always say that probably if you would have looked more closely, you could have seen it coming. So, because it's like right below the death card, it could be something where you're reacting to an ending of a job or a relationship and kind of are out of control in some way. It might not be, going crazy, but just something is not quite like in a forward moving direction. And yes, it could be something that's a blockage. What's coming in, the Page of Pentacles. This is a card of maybe hearing a message, page, about work, about financial matters. But I would say if this has anything to do with your work life, you might hear about a new job. Or if this is something with money, same thing. In terms of any kind of relationship issues, you may get a constructive idea, something that's very grounded, sensible, practical about how to proceed so that you're not just overreacting. And the outcome, the 6 of Wands, that sense of, you see that this is a card associated with Leo, and the person is in the spotlight. And that means that they're being honored in some way. So maybe it's like a work situation that pushed you out, that ended, but it was really for the best because you were able to attract a job that is much more appreciative of your gifts. So you see how these things that seem so bad, they can end up being really great in the long run. And that's the ultimate, that's really what we focus on, not like, oh my God, I lost my job, and then the universe makes a space for something better to come along, and you're like, oh, so that's what that was all about. Because otherwise, maybe you would have never left. Because with the Eight of Swords, you might have underestimated your abilities and kind of like brushed off any possibility that you could actually do something worthwhile, which is sad because obviously you're very, very talented. Gemini people are very intelligent, witty, clever types of people, and and very versatile. So, anyway, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonates. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.